What's going on out there, good people? It is your boy Look Around with LMD Trading, and we are back. We are back with another daily trade review. We are starting the week off good, and it really could have been great this morning, but we're gonna just leave it at a good morning and a good start to the week. Finishing the day up basically 2R, and we gave back a little bit. Otherwise we would have been a little bit over 2R, but not gonna complain. Have to take some other trades. Unfortunately, the one that we took did not work, so we gave back a little bit of the profits. Ended up taking two more, getting back a little bit of those profits that we lost, and then ended up just finishing a little less than 2R. So without any further ado, we're gonna jump straight into TRADERVUE. So let's go ahead and get TRADERVUE pulled up. As you can see, we're reviewing trades for Monday, September 19th. We took 4 trades today, closed P&L $96.58. Had we just took that first trade this morning, we actually would have finished up about $6 more. Would have finished up about $6 more, but we ended up taking 2 more trades. Traded KNBE. Took a little hit on that one. Then we traded MOS 2 times. This one was not one that was on our watch list. Found this one on the previous high of day scanner. Popped up. Took what I thought was going to be some good trades, and I actually think that they were. I don't know if I got these on camera or not, or if I had shut it down, but let's take a peek at these real quick in TRADERVUE, and then we'll jump straight into the video. So this one here, you look at it on the 5, it looks like I'm buying just straight into the middle of a candle. The 2-minute shows you a little better picture. Getting in, actually the 2-minute looks like an excellent entry. Getting in right there, stop right there. This thing just ripped nicely. This thing came up and it pulled back. I moved my stop to break even because I didn't like this top and tail. And we see that this thing just kept ripping. Excuse me. On trades in the past, I would try to lock in a little bit of profit and usually get stopped out. So when we look at the video, I want to see if I tried to lock in a little bit of profit or did I just take this straight to break even. So this was the first trade, and look at that thing. It just continued to rip. 2-minute bar by bar really would not have worked. Because once we got up in here, actually, once we got past all of this junk, 2-minute bar by bar would have worked after we hit target. But this one here, I just left alone. I was like, nope, it's either going to stop me out break even or we're going to hit target. Let's look at the details. Max unrealized 102.30. That's what we made. I love it. I love it. I love it when I see this number 0. That means that this thing just took off and it never looked back. Those are the trades you want to take. Another thing about this trade, and I guess I could talk about that once we get in the video. So let's go ahead. Let's look at KNBE. So once we hit that first target for 2R, every trade after that was not for full size. This one here was a half lot. So we was risking 25 bucks. I ended up tightening the stop up. Had I left the stop alone, I think this one would have went. We'll have to see where the stop was put at on this one. But it really needed to be down here, low of day. So we may have gotten stopped out. We may have had it right up in here. So possibly would have stopped out full on this one. But looking at the 5 where I got in at, the stop really should have been down here. We come over here and look at the 10. Getting in there, stop down there. Never would have looked back after this initial pullback. This would have been a good entry over here too, or as it broke that area. So gave back a little bit of those gains. It max unrealized $3.50. So never really went in our favor. Max unrealized losses $16.80, and that's what we took on that one. And let's look at the two MOSs. These here again. This one, took this one, and then I got nervous because I looked at the 5 and I said, this thing is a little extended. This is a little extended, but it was getting closer to the moving average and the VWAP, or actually this here is the moving average. So it kind of pulled back over to the moving average, which was a good thing. Getting in off of the 2-minute as it was breaking this area. But look at this thing. This would have clearly ran and hit target. Let's see what we were up on this one. So again, risking 25 on this one. This one almost was up 1R. Went against us a little bit, insignificant, but clearly would have easily hit target had we let this thing work. Was extended, but it was still moving. Buyers still had control of it. So that first one, got out of it a little too early. That's why I say it was a good morning, but not a great morning. And then the last one here made $1.58, basically a flat trade. Again, getting in on that extended move, but look at where we got in at. Right there. We put the stop down there, or you can put it down there. So this was just like a little micro consolidation. Got out right there. This thing never would have hit our stop. And again, we hitting target on this one. So that was 2 trades that could have hit target had we left them to work out the way that they should have been. Maxed unrealized, we made a couple of bucks. It went against us $6. No harm, no foul. But yeah, should have just let those 2 work. But the issue was we didn't want to give back any more of those gains. Almost like you shouldn't even be trading in, is how I looked at that after I was done trading. Shouldn't have even took these trades if I was not going to let them work. And that was the morning. We were done in less than an hour. $100 an hour. It's not bad. Not bad. Not bad. But let's go ahead. Let's pull up the video real quick. Get watching through it real quick. Market is already open. So we'll get it started. Kind of just flipping through what we were looking at. Let's see. While this is playing, I'm going to just run through what we had on the watch list. So on the long list today, we had ALLK. We're looking at that one right now. That was our banger for the day. And remember when we saw it on the 5? I'm going to pause that real quick. Remember we saw this on the 5? It just looked like I was buying into a candle. So this was the pattern that I was trading. I was buying this off of the 5. So buying it off of the 5, I got my entry just above pre-market high. So pre-market high was 537. I got my entry just above it. 15-cent stop is going to have a stop just below lower day on this candle. And then target was 30 cents. So that was the play. You look at the 2, you're not seeing nothing. You look at the 10 and the 1, not really seeing nothing. I think this one triggers off camera because I'm looking at another stock. So we'll let it do its thing. We had BCAN on the watch list, BKAN. We had KNBE, which we're looking at right there. We had MOS. We had Netflix. And we had NRGD. Had those to go long. Had CVX, we had DVN, we had IP. IP was one that I kind of thought would bounce, and that is exactly what it did. We had Oxy, which we did not get a trade on Oxy. And that was it. Fairly small watch list today. Fairly small. But we come over here and look at the two. Two was giving you the picture of a little 3-bar play, and then it took off. So it was setting up to be a 3-bar play, but it had already started moving. So again, my focus is on the 5-minute, because if it could push back up here, and once it breaks, it's breaking all of this junk to the left. Breaking all of that junk to the left, and then it's just basically clear skies. But let's go ahead. Let's speed this one up. And before I do that, let me pull the details up. We get in at 9:32. And actually, see, I'm looking at the wrong chart because we got the wrong one up. So we're already triggered in on. We're already triggered in. Yep. But it was the same thought. Once we got over this pre-market junk, it was good. And look how that thing just popped. 1 minute was showing a pretty good picture. Again, the 2-minute, it's almost like buying a 2-minute high. And now you see I have moved my stop up to break even because of this top and tail. Now just imagine had I tried to lock in like $10 or $20 or something like that. I would have missed out on getting a full size. And look how close that thing even came to tapping me where I'm sitting at. And you see I still had a mouse over it. Still had a mouse over it. Volume is coming in right there. We saw that just switched to 29,000 shares on this price action volume. And I'm kind of watching the level 2 as well. Just making sure I don't see a lot of sellers coming in. But let's continue to watch. Instead of doing that, I'm going to just scroll through. Let's see. So it's still just doing its thing. Just kind of hanging out there. And then it finally pops. Let's look and see when it pops. Let's see if we can see buyers come in on the level 2. We got a lot of sellers. And that's why I said it's kind of hard to judge. Did you see all those sellers that was right there? And this thing's still pushing up. Look at that. It's almost like the buyers was waiting on sellers to come in and then to take off. So now look it just ran straight up. I almost wanted to move it, and I was like, no, let's go ahead. Let's get target. 5 minutes in the market, 6 minutes in the market, we up 2R. It doesn't get any easier than that right there. Doesn't get any easier than that right there. And I really should have been done at that point because the thumbnail watch list was not really showing anything. It was not. And I'm going to kind of just go ahead, scroll through this. But look at that thing. Just keep going. We had this area marked on the chart. Look at what it did. It came up over it and then it pulled back. So again, I love technical analysis. It amazes me how the stocks respect these areas. All right, let's see. So this was the VIX. This was a trade that Evan took. This was a hard to borrow stock, so I didn't have access to shorten that. But Evan has the hard to borrow program through TD Ameritrade, so he can short those. You have to make sure that you're approved to get them. But that was a nice trade that he had took on the VIX. Let's go ahead and scroll this up. So we come over here and look at KNBE. This was one that I knew better than to take this trade until it got over pre-market high of 22.48. So 22.50 and above was the entry. But I saw this little area here. I saw this here, and then I saw this up on the 10. And if I was going to take it, I really should have let 8 minutes go by to let this 10-minute candle finish and then see if I was going to get a 10-minute 3-bar play. And it was enough room in that move to go up to the pre-market high. So I was a little kind of getting in this trade early and not really sticking to my guns on what the chart was telling me. I got my areas properly marked off. The chart is telling me, let this thing get past all of this junk. I was looking at another YouTuber's videos over the weekend, and on one of his trades in particular, I made the comment like, don't buy into that junk to the left. Let other people do the work for you. And then once it gets above this, if it holds, it's going to give opportunity to take some trades. I didn't even heed my own advice on this trade. Because the thing is, when you're looking at the 2 minute, the 10, and the 1, you don't see that junk. So it looks like it's a good, clean trade. It looks like once it gets above the high and sets a new high, it's going to be smooth sailing. But we got the 5-minute pre-market turned on for a reason. It's turned on so that we know. No, you got these. This is, so basically buying now is buying into these sellers that still have their shares. So you buying into them. So if they holding, all they need to do is short some more to force you back down. But once you get above them, now they having to sell to cover what they then bought up in this area. So bad trade. This was a bad trade on my part. And we paid. The good thing was it was a small position. I definitely would not have taken this position on a full position. But even still, on a half lot, I should not have taken it. But I come back over, I'm looking at ALLK. This thing's still going. This thing is still going. And I'm going to go ahead, speed this one up. We come back over, we look at KNBE. And it does nothing. Bad trade. So I check PRPL. Again, if you're looking at just these charts with pre-market off on them, if it gets above this 397, you thinking you're good. But no, it has junk all the way up to 418. So it makes no sense to buy as this thing is kind of chugging up, because you're buying into all of these sellers. Now, one good thing is if you look down at the volume, look at this volume compared to that volume. So this candle here is possibly shaking a bunch of these sellers out. So you got buyers coming in and you have some of these sellers getting out as this is pushing higher. I still wouldn't buy it, and I didn't trade it because, again, if these sellers kind of double down, they can get control and kind of force this back down. So that's how I read that. Come over, look at SA War. Now I'm going through the pre-market or previous high of day scanner. And I come across this one and I'm like, man, you don't see no entries here, no entries here, but the 1 minute was given entries. Nice little entry there. Big jump up on the gap. Had another little pull there. And again, come back, look at PRPL. This thing is just kind of fighting through it. We'll go ahead and scroll this up till we come up on MOS. American Airlines was looking decent. We come back looking, and this is just ugly with these topping tails. The sellers was pushing it back down, and then the buyers was just like, nope, we got this. Kept pushing it higher. But it was not something I would trade with those topping tails, even though it kept getting pushed higher. Look at that thing. I was watching it, observing. We come back and look, and we see we've stopped out of this one now. And it's just kind of just range trading. So definitely not something you want to be trading. Come back looking at it, and I'm kind of just looking at those two. Look at PRPL. So those buyers did push, and look at the volume on just those two green candles. But not something that I would have traded. Now coming over here, I was kind of getting interested. Watch, you'll see me. I'm getting interested. I'm like, okay, let me run some numbers. That was a 5-cent candle, but buying right into this little area right here. So couldn't buy it until it was actually holding that area and pressing higher. So this was one that wasn't nothing else really to watch. So I was just kind of seeing how it was playing out. Just kind of keep scrolling through. Uh-oh, what was that? So we did put an order in, plan it to break this candle right there, and I take it out once it breaks below that. So the play on that was to keep it pressing. And look at this thing. Even though, like I said, sellers forcing this back down, the buyers just trapped them and just kept forcing it higher. Let's keep going. I'm gonna just run this over to, when did we get in? 10:11. All right, here we go. We got about 2 minutes left, so let's kind of look at this one and see. They were just kind of chopping along, not really showing anything. A little small pullback. So small pullback, small follow through. That's from live traders. If you get this big move and you get a little small pullback, he equates it to if somebody asks you to go run a marathon or a sprint and you sprint and then they give you a little bit of rest and then they tell you to go take another sprint, are you going to be able to sprint this same distance after this little bit of rest? But if you can get some rest and come maybe down to here, then you could take another good leg and do another good sprint. But let's speed it up. We got 2 minutes. I want to see where we set the brackets at on this one. So now we're pushing this area. So now I'm looking for this to hold. Let's see. Look at the charts. Speed it up one more 30 seconds. Up. We got triggered in. Let's back it up. I always say I wish this button here was a 10-second button. So we're giving this a 50-cent stop, looking for a dollar target. So 100 shares would have been $50. We bought 50 shares, so we're risking $25. And we buying it for the break of higher day, and we putting the stop below the pivot. So giving this quite a bit of room. And if you come up here and you look and you see, putting it below the low of that candle, same on the 10. So not a bad stop on the trade. Let's kind of watch it real quick. Let's just scroll through. Look at that nice pop. So we got the nice pop, but again, have to be expecting that this is not going to really make a good move. So really, we're up a half a R right now. We're up a half R. Good pop. And now we bring the stop up after that good pop. So I almost could look at this as like a little scalp trade. And look at it. There it go. Coming back down. Because again, shallow retracement, shallow follow through. But this here probably was a good 1.5 R getting in off of it. If you would have took it off the actual shallow pullback. First area of concern going to be that top and tail. Look what it did. It just kind of consolidated over to the top and tail, and then it went. So not bad, but have an expectation. That was the key on that trade. Have an expectation to know what you're going to get out of it. And it's still trying to run, though. It's still trying to run. The 2 minutes kind of pulling back over. This one here looked like this was going to be a good entry. Look at that right there. Off of this little consolidation period. I got in late. And you see the stop is nowhere near the stop it should be at. This one we had a 20-cent stop. 20-cent stop on that one. And it's off to the races, but again, getting in late, stop is not where it should be. I need to be, first chance I get, tightening the stop up because we didn't have nothing set right. Or getting in and adjusting for the stop to be down there. Adjusting for that stop to be down there. We see it almost came down, tapped us, and now it's back off to the races. And who knows where that stop was actually sitting at? It possibly could have kept going. But you're going to see we're going to end up getting first opportunity that thing gives us a little bit of room to get out of this trade. Let's go and speed it up. Yep, see, as soon as I can get it above to where if it catch slippage and stop me out, I'm going to lose money, I'm moving it up. And you see it comes back, taps, and now I'm like, okay, let's quit playing. Let's quit taking chances on losing money. And that was it. We were done for the day. All right, and that's going to do it. That is going to do it. Let's go ahead, wrap this one up. I was thinking that we were going to be up out of there, and thought that was going to be fairly short. We still right there around our 30-minute time, so not bad, not bad. But thanks for checking us out over here. Glad to be starting the week off strong and green and on some good trades. Like I said, those last three, I really didn't need to take those. I should have just, especially if they weren't going to be full positions. No, I can't say that. I'm going to retract that statement. They were decent entries. I just didn't let them work. So I won't say that they were bad entries. But if you have not already, please like, please comment, please subscribe to Living My Dream Trading. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up so we can be ready to take on the markets tomorrow. Hope y'all have a good evening, a good day, wherever you are in this world. And we will be back at it again on tomorrow. Peace.